In the 5.6 part 1 video, we talked about how you could identify the part in a percent. So if you scored 60% on a test and there were 150 questions, out of those 150, how many did you get correct? But this video is going to talk about something a little different, where if you scored 60% on a test and you got 80 questions correct, how many questions were there altogether? So we will be calculating this time the whole number when we're given a percent and the part. So let's just, probably the best way to understand this is just to jump in and do a few examples. So finding the whole, which is example 3 in your book. Again, all right, we write a percent as a fraction. So 75% is 75 out of 100. Again, we see the word of. Of means multiply. So 75% of what number? All right, this is what changed. We don't know. 75% of what? We don't know. 75% of some number, here's is, which means equals 48. All right, so do you see what changed from this video to the part 1 video? Last time, or in the part 1 video, we would have known this number, and this number over here would have been our question mark. But in this case, they're saying that we know there are 48 questions on the test. Or, sorry, we know that you got 48 questions right on the test. What we don't know is how many questions there were total. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start the same as we did last time. 75 out of 100 can be simplified to 3/4. Okay, so now what we're saying is 3/4 times what equals 48. To help you understand this, I am going to show you another example just off to the side. What if we said 3 times what equals 6? The answer is 2, right? 3 times 2 equals 6. How could we get that? Couldn't we take our answer and divide it by one of these factors? Couldn't we take 6 divided by 3 to find out what this missing number is? Or if I was trying to say, 5, then let's go 2 times what equals 10? All right, what would you do? You say, oh, duh, 2 times 5 is 10. But to figure that out, if you didn't know, couldn't you take 10 and divide it by 2 to get 5, that missing number? So here we're going to do the exact thing. We don't know 3/4 times what? We don't know what this is to get 48. So to find out, we could take this, 48, and we could divide it by 3/4 to find out what that missing number is. So 48 divided by 3/4, let me write 48 as a fraction. I'm going to change my division to multiply, and I'm going to use the reciprocal of the fraction that comes next. So that becomes 4/3. Okay, so now just multiplying, I'm multiplying my numerators, multiplying my denominators, and I just used a calculator, and you can too, to help figure out that 48 times 4 is 192. 1 times 3 is 3. Then if I would take 192 divided by 3, I would get 64. So I just took numerator, fraction bar means divide, numerator divided by denominator. Or you could say, hey, both of these are divisible by 3. 192 divided by 3 is 64. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 64 over 1 is also equal to 64. So then what that means, as I go up to my original problem, 75% of what number of 64? 75% of 64 is 48. So there were 64 questions on the test. You got 75% or 48 questions correct. Next example. If you still don't get it, it's okay, all right? Let's try and figure out another example. All right, 120%. 120 out of 100. Of always means multiply. Of what number? We don't know. Is means equals. Always in math, is means equals, is 72. All right, so they're saying you got 120% on a test. There must have been some extra credit. All right, 120% of what number is 72? So 72 is how many you got correct. What we're trying to figure out is how many there were total. And since you got 120%, we know that that number that there was total should be less than 72, because you got more right than were even possible on the test. Anyway, let's use what we did before. So if the question was flip-flopped to something much easier, and we said 3 times what number is 15, to find that number, which we all know is 5, right? To find that number, we could take 15 divided by 3. Oh, that number is 5. So over here, we're going to first simplify our fraction. 120 over 100 can be simplified to 6/5. If you don't simplify it, it's okay. You're just going to be working with bigger numbers. So 6/5 times what number equals 72. Just like we did over here, to find this missing number, we are going to take 72 divided by 6/5. So I'll write 72 as a fraction, change divide to multiply, and take the reciprocal of only the number that comes after the division sign. So I'm not flipping the first one, just the second one. Then I'm going to say, oh, fraction multiplication. Easiest thing you can do with fractions, multiply numerators, multiply denominators. 72 times 5, you can sure use a calculator for that if you need to, is 360. 1 times 6 is 6. And if I would take 360 divided by 6, I would get 60. Or if I would simplify this by dividing both of these by 6, I would get 60 over 1. If you still don't really understand this, please raise your hand and one of us will try and help you understand before you start the practice work.